Ratio, rates, and proportions. Ratios. So, a ratio is a comparison of two numbers. So, when we say ratio, meron tayong kino-compare, okay, na two numbers. Example, Tamara has 2 dogs and 8 fish. The ratio of dogs to fish, from dogs to fish daw, can be written in 3 different ways. First, pwede nating ilagay na word 2. Pwede din tayong gumamit ng colon or writing a fraction. So, pwede nating sabihin na 2 to 8, 2 is to 8, or 2 over 8. And pwede natin siyang i-simplified or ratio in simplest form. You can read the ratios as 2 to 8 or 1 to 2. 1 is to 4. Okay, so ganun natin siya tinatawag. Meron is na in-add natin para hindi tayo maguluhan. Kasi parang 2, 2, di ba? 2 is to 8 or 1 is to 4. Be careful with the fraction ratios. They don't always have identical meanings to other fractions. Okay? There are two different types of ratios. We have part-to-part ratios and yung isa ay part-to-whole. So when you say part-to-part, pwede siyang sabihin na Tamara's dog to cats is 2 is to 8 or 1 is to 4. Kapag ka naman part-to-whole ratios, Tamara's dog to total pets. Kasi yung dog ni Tamara daw ay bahagi siya ng total pets. So 2 is to 10 or 1 is to 5. Limang dog or isang dog, ang kabuuan ng lahat ng pet niya ay 10. So yun yung dalawang two types of ratios. So, try the following. Apple to banana naman tayo. So, there are 12 apples and 3 bananas. So, paano natin siya i-ratio? So, the ratio of apples to bananas is 4 is to 1 or 4 is to 1 or 4 over 1. Kapag ka orange to apples naman, halimbawa, we have, there are 15 oranges and 12 apples. So, from orange to apples, we have 5 over 4 or 5 is to 4. Bakit ganon? Kasi, pwede natin siyang i-simplified. Diba yung 15 at saka 2, divisible siya by 3. So, 4 times 3 is 12 and 5 times 3 is 15. Or that is equals to 5, 4. Okay? Nakasimplified kasi siya. So, a large bouquet of flowers is made up of 18 roses, 18 daisies, and 24 irises, which, or write its ratio in all three forms and simplest form. Identify which races are part to part and which races are part to whole. Ayan. So, roses to iris. Iris ba? Hindi ko alam yung flowers eh. Okay, so daisies to roses and iris to daisies, and then last is all flowers to roses. So yung roses natin, 18 yung roses at 24 yung iris. So that is equals to 3 to 4 or 3 is to 4. Kasi yung 18 at saka 24, divisible naman siya by 6. 18 divided 6 is 3, 24 divided 6 is 4. The next one, yung daisies natin ay 16 at saka yung roses natin ay 18. And these two numbers are divisible by 2. 16 divided by 2 is 8 and 18 divided by 2 is 9. So 8 to 9 or 8 is to 9. Yung iris naman natin, to daisies is 24 is to 16. And this 24 and 16 is divisible by 8. No? 24 divided by 8 is 3 and 16 divided by 8 is 2. While all flowers, ito na yung, lahat yun part to part, ano. Ito yung part to whole, itong number 4. All flowers to roses. That is 58 to 8. So, ito yung part to whole. Or, this is divisible by, or 29 to 9. Okay, 29 to 9. 58, kapag ka tinotal natin yan, and that is equals to 58. No? Ang roses natin ay 18. Mali yata ang nasulat ko. Okay. So, 18 plus 16 plus 24 is 58. Is to 18 yan. Ano? So, hindi yan ganon. Okay. And, ayun, 18. And 58 at saka 18, dagdagan nyo yung 8 na, 18 yan na. Divisible siya by 2. Now, 58 divided by 2 is 29 at saka yung 18 divided by 2 ay 9. Sorry, nakaligtaan ko lang yan ng 1 yan. So that is 58 is to 18. Ano? Next, explain why the ratio 29/9 is not written as a mixed number. Kasi di ba yung mixed number, meron tayong whole number plus another fraction. So hindi siya pwedeng isulat as mixed number because ratio nga is comparing two numbers. So if you change it to a mixed number, it would no longer be a comparison. This is why fraction ratios are tricky. So comparing ratios naman tayo. When we compare ratios by writing in simplest form, are these ratios equivalent? Halimbawa, 250 KitKats to 4 mm's and 500 KitKats to 8 mm's. Hindi ba pareho siya na 62.5? Okay, so equal siya. So 12 out of 20 doctors agree and 12 out of 30 doctors agree. So dito naman ay hindi siya the same, 'di ba? Kapag ka simplest form tayo. So the ratios of students in Miss B classes that had HW was 8 to 2 and 80% of Mrs. Long's class has HW or homework, no? So 810 or 80/100, that is equal. Okay? Now, punta naman tayo kay rates. A rate is a ratio. Yung kanina kapag sinabi natin na ratio, meron tayong kino-compare na dalawang numbers. So ang rate naman, part siya ng ratio or it is a ratio that compares two different quantities or measurement. So halimbawa, or it can be simplified and it can be used per and for. Halimbawa, driving 55 miles per hour. Ibig sabihin ito yung rates niya. 55 miles, gumamit tayo ng per hour. Miles per hour yon yung ating units. And 3 tickets for $1, so that is equals to tickets over dollars. Next, kapag ka naman unit rates, yung unit rate is a rate per 1 unit, no? Per 1 unit. Tandaan niyo yung 1 unit, no? Kaya nga tinawag siya na unit rate. So, yung denominator niya is always 1. Example, Miguel types 180 words in 4 minutes. How many words can he type per minute? 180 words per 4 minutes. Kaya lang kung ilalagay natin siya as unit rate, that is 180 divided by 4 or 4 divided by 4 is 1. 180 divided by 4 is 45. 45 words per minute. Ayan. So, ito yung tinatawag natin na unit rate. Yung 180 words per 4 minute, yun yung rate. At saka yung 45/1 is unit rate. Yung 45 words per minute, yun yung word form. Now, unit rates make it easier to make comparisons. Example, Taylor can type 215 words in 5 minutes. How many words can he type per minute? 215 words in 5 minutes. Who is faster typist? Who must faster? So 215/5, that is 43 words per minute. And Taylor is 2 word minute faster than Miguel. So yun kagaya tayo nag-compare tayo ng rates. Try the following. Film cost is $7.50 per 3 rolls. So you have to divide $750 divided by 3. And 90 students versus 5 teachers. A snowfall of 12 3/4 inches in 4.5 hours. Ian drove 30 miles in 0.5 hours. Okay? So drive 288 miles on 16 gallons of gas. Earn $49 for 40 hours of work. Earn or use 5 half quarts of water for every 2 pounds of chicken. Sarah drove 5 miles in 20 minutes. Ang sagot dyan, i-divide lang natin to 250 per roll. And then yung 5 miles in 20 minutes ay 15 miles per hour. Okay? Kasi nga naman yung hour is ano siya, 'di ba? 60 minutes. So 60 minutes ay tatlong beses na 20 minutes. So 5 times 15. 5 times 3. Kaya 15. And dito naman, na-divide lang naman siya, 2 3/4 quarts per pound. Then, dito naman, i-divide mo lang yung 49 divided by 40. So, that is $1.23 per hour. Dito naman, you have to just divide miles per gallons, 18 miles per gallon. And 18 students per teacher, 2.56 snowfall per hour. And then, 60 miles per hour naman yung kay Ian. Okay? Complex. Meron tayong tinatawag na complex unit rates. Suppose a boat travels 30 miles in 2 hours. How do you write this rate? So 30 miles over 2 hours, or you have to divide or you have to simplify that. That is 15 miles per hour. So yun yung tinatawag natin na complex unit rates. Suppose a boat travels 12 miles in 2 over 3 hours or 2/3 hours. So how do you write this as a rate? How do you write this as a division problem? 12 miles yung ating numerator at yung denominator natin ay 2/3 hours. And that is 12 divided by 2/3. And that is 18. Kasi when we divide fraction, gagawin natin siya, i-reciprocal natin yun and then multiply to the other fraction or the whole number. So determine the unit rate, 18 miles per hour. Now, suppose a boat travels 8 3/4 miles in 5/8 or 5/8 hours. How do you write this as a rate? So 83, 8, na yung space ha, malili yung space ko dyan. 8 3/4 miles over 5/8 hours. How do you write this as a division problem? Siyempre, mixed fraction yon, 8 3/4 divided by 5/8. So, ang mangyari, reciprocal natin yung 5/8, that is 35 over 4. Ito ay naging improper fraction na, times 8 over 5. This is the reciprocal of 5/8, and this should equal to 14. So, that is 14 miles per hour. Next, complex fractions are fractions that have fractions within them. They are either in the numerator, denominator, or both. Then, divide complex fractions by multiplying, keep, change, and then change. Yun lang yung rule dyan. I-keep natin, i-change, and i-change. Now, let us come to proportion. Two quantities are proportional if they have a constant ratio or unit rate. Kapag ka daw yung dalawang quantities or dalawang variable na kino-compare natin ay merong constant na ratio, proportional ang tawag doon or proportion. You can determine proportionality by comparing ratios naman. Kapag sinabi nating ratios, nagko-compare tayo ng number. Kapag ka rates naman is a part of ratios. Kapag ka proportion naman, nagko-compare tayo ng ratios. Andrew earns $18 per hour for mowing lawns. Is the amount he earns proportional to the number of hours he spent mowing? Okay, so make a table to show this amount. So, ang earning niya ay 18 per hour. So, meaning kapag kadalawang oras siyang nagtrabaho, 36 yung earning niya. Kapag tatlo, $54 yung earning niya. At kapag apat na oras, $72 naman yung earnings niya. For each number of hours work, write the relationship of the amount he earned and R as a ratio in simplest form. So, are all the rates equivalent? Since each rate simplifies 18, they are all equivalent. Kahit na meron tayong multiplying factor, nadodoble siya, pero para din naman siya ng equivalent. This means the amount of money Andrew earns is proportional to the number of hours he spent mowing. Now, Uptown Tickets charge $7 per baseball game ticket plus $2 processing fee per order. Is the cost of an order proportional to the number of tickets ordered? Make a table show this amount. So, meron tayong cost. Kapag meron daw tayong isang in-order na ticket, $10 yun. Kasi meron tayong processing fee na 2, diba? Okay, so kapag mali yung aking nailagay na sorry. Okay, so hindi ko na ito skip natin to. Okay, use the recipe to make fruit punch. Is the amount of sugar used proportional? Ito pa pala yung isang gamit ng proportion. Kapag meron tayong recipe, dapat proportional. So halimbawa, dinagdagan mo ng harina, nagdadagdag ka rin naman ng kunyari ng milk or kaya ng sugar. So yun yung ibig sabihin ng proportion. And that is added to the amounts of mixture. Halimbawa, yung cups of sugar natin una ay 1/2, tapos yung envelopes of mix natin ay 1. Kapag dinagdagan natin yung sugar, gawin natin siyang 1 cup. Ang mangyayari yung mix natin magiging 2. No? Ito yung tinatawag natin na proportional. Yes, they are all reduced to 1/2. So, halimbawa, In July, a paleontologist found 368 fossils at a dig. In August, she found about 14 fossils per day naman. Okay, so is the number of fossils the paleontologist found in August proportional to the number of days she spent looking for fossils that month? No, because July average is 11.87 fossils per day, while kasi yung July, i-divide natin yun into number of days doon sa July, no? And yung August naman, yung tiningnan natin dyan is 14 fossils na per day na, 'di ba? So hindi siya proportional. Okay, solving proportions. A proportion is two equivalent ratios. When solving proportion, we must first ask ourselves, what are we comparing? Ano yung kailangan mong ikumpara or ano yung kailangan mong i-describe na pareho, no? Para makita natin ano yung difference nila. So, a lemonade recipe calls for 1/2 cup of mix for every quart of water. If Jeff wanted to make a gallon of lemonade, is 2 cups of mix proportional for this recipe? Yes. Okay, so 1/2 over 1 is equals to 2 over 4. Now, determine if the following ratios are proportional. 10 over 17 and 20 over 27, 3 and over 8 and 9 over 24. No, kasi 340, ito yung may cross multiplication tayo dito. So halimbawa, 10 times 27, that is 270, and 17 times 20 is equals to 340, and that is not a proportional. Dito naman, yung 3 times 24 natin ay 72 and 8 times 9 ay 72. We follow a cross-section multiplication, no? Cross multiply. So proportionality can be determined between two ratios by simplifying or comparing these cross products. If they reduce to the same ratio or their cross products are the same, then they are proportional. You can also solve proportions for missing variables by cross multiplying. Example, determine if the two ratios are proportional, 6 over 9 and 8 over 12, 6 times 12 and 8 times 9. 4 times 8 and 3 times 10 kasi meron tayong cross products. 2 times 15 and 7 times 7. Okay, so ito ay yung first one is proportion, the second one is not a proportion, and the third one is also not a proportion. Example, determine the value of x. 6 over 10 is equals to 36 over x. So, i-multiply natin siya, cross-multiply. 6 times x is 6x is equals to 10 times 36 or 360. And then, divide both sides by 6. And that is equals to 360 divided by 6, and that is equals to 60. So example, a stack of 2,450 $1 bills weighs 5 pounds. How much do 1,471 $1 bills weighs? So set up a proportion. Ask ourselves, what are we comparing? And then yung ating denominator ay pareho, yung ating numerator naman ay pareho. For the second example, we have 2,450 as our first numerator. Ang kanyang denominator are 5. Then, yung kanyang second ratio are yung numerator na 1,470 over 1. And then, tingnan natin siya if pareho ba yun. And that is equals to processing pa tayo dyan. Okay, so basta titingnan natin kung anong i-compare natin. Dapat pareho yung numerator, pareho din naman yung denominator natin. 3, so hindi siya pareho. Okay, so next. Whitney earns $206.25 for 25 hours of work. At this rate, how much will... Okay, 60 nga naman. Ito ay pounds per bill. Ito ay 3 pounds. Itong last dollars per hour, okay, and x value natin ay 247.50. So, hindi siya proportionals. Coordinate plane review. So, ito naman yung pag nag-graph tayo, no? Ito yung coordinate plane natin. We have x-axis and y-axis. Yung x-axis pahalang or nakahiga. Yung y-axis ay nakatayo. No? Ito yung origin natin na 0. Yung quadrant 1, first upper right. Quadrant 2, second or yung left upper natin. Yung quadrant 3 ay lower left natin. At yung quadrant 4 ay lower right natin. Ordered pairs. When we say ordered pair, it is a pair of numbers that can be used to locate a point on a coordinate plane. Halimbawa, 3, 2. Yung ating 3 ay x-coordinate kasi yun yung nauna and yun yung domain. Yung y-coordinate na 2 is yung nasa second. So when we graph that, nandito siya. Tatlong hakbang papunta sa x at saka dalawang hakbang papunta sa y. Okay. So nandyan yung ating point. At nasa quadrant 1. So, steps for graphing. First, draw and label the x and y axis. Don't forget your arrows. Make a table of values to represent the problem. Be sure to include the values, -1, 0, 1, and 2. And then graph your ordered pairs. You need at least 3 points to make a line. And then draw a line through the points. So, pag connectahin mo na lang yung points, then do not forget your arrows. If the line is straight and goes through the origin, then the quantities are proportional. Example, the lowest mammal on earth is a tree slot. Ito papakita ko lang para makita natin. So ito grinap natin yan dyan sa y and x axis. And then in every 1 minute, meron tayong 6 feet. Okay. Sa 2 minute, meron tayong 12 feet. Sa 3 minute, meron tayong 18 feet. And kapag ka-draw natin yun, straight siya, diba? So, meaning proportional siya. Next, the table shows, ito naman, yan, kapag ka-green up natin siya, yan, so hindi siya. No, it is not a straight line and it doesn't go through the origin. So, kapag ka sinabi naman natin na slope, ito yung rise over run or change in y over change in x. Slope is the rate of change between any 2 points on the line. The sign of the slope tells you whether the line is positive or negative. You can find slope of a line by comparing any 2 points on that line. Okay? So, meaning positive slope siya kapag yung kanyang slope ay papunta sa right. Negative slope siya kapag yung slope niya ay papunta sa left. Okay? Ayan. Ito additional topic lang to pero wala ito sa module natin. Nilagay ko lang siya para at least meron tayong additional integration ng topic. Then rate of change or slope. Rate of change, it describes how one quantity changes in relation to another. For graphs, the rate of change or slope is constant, straight line. Proportional relationship naman, ang tinatawag natin siya between two quantities is one in which the two quantities vary directly with one another. This is called a direct variation. So for graphs, the rate of change or slope is constant or kaya naman straight line. And thank you, that's all.